Hello, I'm Deacon John Carlisle. Please call me Deacon John. And I'm one of the permanent deacons assigned to St. Joseph's Catholic Church. And although with all this gray hair, I'm really the new kid on the block. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a lawyer by trade, having practiced law for about 43 years, primarily in the area of civil litigation. And most of that has been within the federal government, primarily with the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, the federal agency that is in charge of insuring the banking system. I'm married to the lovely Mary Ann. We have 4 daughters, 7 grandchildren, and 1 great-grandson. I'm a 3rd-generation native Texan, but I've also lived in the Panama Canal Zone, in Florida, Georgia, and most recently in the Washington, D.C. area. I am an author. My hobbies include reading history, especially Scottish history and early American history, scuba diving, and telling stories. I also like sports, especially soccer, where I am a huge FC Dallas fan. Dallas till I die. I joined St. Joseph on September the 1st, although I was in the same diaconate class as Deacon Tim and Deacon Richard. I will be overseeing mostly the health ministries, dealing with the homebound and with the senior assisted living centers, as well as anything else that Father Jason asked me to do. I've frequently been asked, how did you know that you were called to be a deacon? Now, everyone hears God's call differently, and God calls everyone in a different manner. And everybody hears that differently. Let me tell you my story. It all started in about 1997 when I was living in Georgia, and one of my deacon friends there asked me if I'd ever considered being a deacon. I told him I hadn't, and we just kind of let the conversation go. But about 2 weeks later, the pastor asked if I had ever considered being a deacon. Well, I kind of took that to heart a little bit and said, so I thought and I prayed, and I prayed and I thought, and I prayed a little bit more. And finally, I decided that I wrote a letter to the bishop in Atlanta to inquire as to whether or not I could start the process. However, before that could actually go into effect, I found out that I was going to be transferred from Atlanta to Dallas. So we put that on hold. So I'm in Dallas, and my wife and family and I had registered at St. Elizabeth Ann Seton in Plano. And I was active in a lot of ministries there, primarily as a Eucharistic minister, as a lector, in RCIA, as an adult catechist. While I was there, I was asked by not 1, but 2 deacons if I had considered being a deacon, and then also the pastor. So I gave it some more prayerful discernment and put my name in the hat and entered into the first inquiry program in the year 2000. But by the end of that year, I realized I'd heard that I was going to be losing my job. So being a federal employee, I really kind of expected that I'd be moving back to Washington or to the Washington, D.C. area. So I withdrew from the program. And in 2007, I'm still in Dallas. So I decided to put it into God's hands and trust in Him. I entered the program again, was accepted into the program, and went through the program along with Deacons Tim and Deacon Richard, and we were ordained in February 2013. So from 1997 to 2013 was my journey to becoming a deacon. I heard the call, and it took a while for me to truly answer that call. And the moral of the story, though, is that God is always there for you, always talking to you. You just need to stop and hear what He's saying and trust in Him. Now, I'm a deacon because I have been so blessed that I couldn't not give back. And now I'm going to be sharing it with you here at St. Joseph's. So let the adventure begin.